Oh, hello there. My name is Jaiye Bynoe. You want the Jayman Show, which is on WBCA 102.9 FM, Boston's local community radio station. My guest today is Nicole Seaton from Different Strokes, Lisa. Hi, Nicole. Good to see you on the show today.
Oh, good to see you too. It's Seaton, like the C weighs a ton.
Okay, my guest is Nicole Seaton. Okay, well, good to see you on the show today. I'm such a big fan of yours. I guess my question to you is, how did you get started on as an actress in California?
Oh, years ago, I was 8 years old, and my mom's friend asked me if I wanted to do commercials. So I said, "Oh, that sounds like fun." Okay, so I took an acting class and started going on auditions and started doing commercials, like Barbie doll and Coke and a few other small commercials. And then I actually auditioned and got a movie with Leon Isaac Kennedy and Jane Kennedy called Body and Soul. And Muhammad Ali was actually in that too. So I was about 11 years old when I did that. And then I actually went to a taping of Different Strokes years ago. I was like, wow, that'd be fun. I wish I could be on that show because that was one of my favorite shows. And then, not long after that, that's when I had started acting and went on the audition and got the audition. But I think because I was short and Gary was small. So, being a classmate, we were close in height. So, but really it was just, we got an agent, got pictures, and just started going on auditions. I just think it's a little more competitive now. And that was my disappointment back then. I did Different Strokes for about 4 seasons, I think it was. But just after that, back then, there really weren't any mixed people on screen. It was either you were Black, you were white, you were Hispanic, you were Asian, whatever it was. There wasn't, a lot of people that were mixed. So I remember one of the casting agents, she was like, I really like you, but people look at you and they're like, well, what are you? They want to identify with someone, and my parents are both from Belize, so I'm very mixed. But I just got tired of getting turned down and not getting close and getting the callbacks, to meet the producer, the director, whoever it was at the time, but not really landing enough roles, So I got discouraged, and so I stopped, and I decided I wanted to work behind the camera, and I became an assistant director and did that for 23 years. I was an AD, assistant director. So I'm still in the business, just behind the camera. Plus I used to get too nervous. As you know, like interviewing someone, so it's the same thing being in front of the camera. It's just, you get a little nervous, so I didn't like that feeling.
Well, I can understand that, because as a podcast, it's natural to be nervous sometimes, Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the chemistry like on Different Strokes? Because it looked like such a family show. It's a family show, What was it like to work with Gary Coleman? Even though you guys, on the set, you were sort of enemies. But then, what was like Oscar? Dan played.
We were actually really good friends behind the scenes. Off camera, we shared the same birthday, so we would celebrate our birthdays together. One year he rented a train. He used to spend money lavishly. I'm like, Gary, you're gonna go broke. Like, stop spending all this money, But he had rented a train for friends and producers and family, and we went up to Santa Barbara and stayed at the Biltmore Hotel and had a party, and then I brunch the next day and stayed. I mean, it was beautiful, but I mean, it was like a wedding. It was like 100 and some people, and then he footed the bill for all of this, I mean, we didn't have that kind of money to, that would have been something where you would just do with, like your immediate family, not, 100, 200 people, but, he's a nice guy. I think he had a lot of yes people around him, and they weren't telling him no, or don't do this, or, and his parents were so sweet. Really good people. But yeah, I think I never met the wife, who he got married to now, but I ended up working with him again years down the road as an AD. He did an episode of the Wayans Brothers, because I worked on that show for 5 years, and he guest starred on that. But you know, he's was an interesting person. He loved model trains. So he in his bedroom he had a huge model train, the really small scale collection, and it was mountains, and you had a little flap like this, like you go underneath it, and it was a complete, you know, huge. The room must have been like, I don't even know, 14 by 10 or something, and more than half of it was this model train city, like a world, you know. So he was a little bit of a loner, but I think too, being on TV, just so many people, anywhere we would go, people would just, you know, run after him and hound him, and he got a little annoyed by that, you know. So it's I felt sorry for him, actually, when you think about that kind of life. I mean, any celebrity really, you know, for that matter, just the life that you can't just go out and have a meal without someone interrupting you, you know. But he was a nice person. He was a nice person. And I remember, I'll never forget this. So Todd, you know, when you're younger, you feel like everyone is so much older than you, but growing up, we were like, oh, we really weren't that far apart in age. But he used to have two cars, two BMWs, and one was black and one was white, and it was the exact same car. And I was like, why does he have two? You know, usually you think when you have two cars, you'd have something totally different, maybe a sports car and a truck, you know. But he was like, oh, depending on the mood I'm in, like if I'm, you know, upset or feeling mean, I drive the black one. But when I'm happy and then, you know, feeling good, I drive the white one. So it's like, okay. And him and Dana didn't get along very well. Like they were,
really?
Yeah, like they did, but then they didn't. Like, you know, at one point she had a broken arm, and people were saying he broke the arm. Like they got into an argument. You know, again, I was young. I wasn't really paying attention to that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because I was still a kid. And then I remember too, Silver Spoons used to shoot right across the way. It was like, you know, the Jeffersons, Silver Spoons, Facts of Life. We shared a stage with Facts of Life. So you rehearsed in a rehearsal hall for half the week, and then on camera block shoot days, you went onto the stage. And so one half of the set, the stage with the bleachers, and they spun around. So one half was for Different Strokes, and the other half was for Facts of Life. And same with Kim Fields, I ended up working with her on Living Single the first season, you know. So it's like, not that we were together when I was younger, but it was just like how you're in that same little zone and you don't even realize it, you know. But what I was going to say was we used to shoot on the Universal lot. And so when Silver Spoons was there, because Alfonso, we were like, you know, around the same age, at lunchtime, we would all kind of go play together. And so the trams used to come through this one area on the back lot. And then remember when he did the Michael Jackson, you know, yeah, so he, you know, had his little Michael Jackson jacket, and he would go out and he'd start pop locking and doing his, and when the trams would come by, and he's like, watch this, you know, he's a little bit of a show off, but everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's a little kid from the Michael Jackson, you know, commercial. So just, you know, silly things like that. We used to, you know, play together and stuff. So it was fun. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
You know?
It definitely seemed like a fun time, you know. You
yeah.
know. Because I remember I used to watch the show all the time when I was a kid, and I love trains myself. I have trains myself, you know, so I love trains, and you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I love trains. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always want to be on a show. It's like, well, if I could be on a show, you know, meet them, you know, it'd be such a blessing, you know.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it's definitely, you know, a different life, you know, and just all the things, like people. It's so funny how people give celebrities so many things, you know, and for free, just a ton of different things, you know, I mean, social media and all that wasn't around back then, but just to even have, you know, someone using and promoting their, however they did. I don't really know how you'd promote it back then, because yeah, there wasn't, I don't know, but, and just spend so lavishly. Like sometime with Gary, we'd hang out and then we'd go to the Guitar Center, and he's like, you know, I want to play the keyboards, or I want to learn how to play the guitar. And he would just, you know, drop like $15,000. And back then, like, it's still a lot of money, but I mean, do it just, you know, no big deal. Oh my gosh, you know, okay.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, sounds like you guys have a lot of good chemistry, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, we were the same sign. We're both Aquarius. Yeah, our birthdays are February 8th. So that was fun, you know, celebrating it together.
Yeah, my brother is actually May 8th, so remember with me a Taurus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So what are you? So what are you doing now? What are you working on now? Any projects coming up this year?
Right now I'm currently remodeling our house. We bought a fixer house in Hollywood, and we tore it practically tore it down all the way down to the studs. And we added a partial second level. I'm on the balcony right now. I said, I've never sat out here. We have a perfect day to, you know, look, the view is so pretty, you know, it's like,
oh my God, that's beautiful.
We're in Hollywood and Hills.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoy the LA weather and life. But yeah, so the house was a two-door style, and we turned it into a modern Spanish. But it's been like 2.5 years now. We lived right around the corner from here, and so we found the house. My mom had moved in with us, and when we first got married, it was just my husband and myself, and because it was Nikki Swayze before, so now it's Nikki Swayze Seaton because I had no middle name. But it was just he and I. But then we had 2 kids, and then my mom moved in with us because she lived close, but we had hired her to help raise the kids because I was still working at the time. And so she practically lived with us. And so we just kind of outgrew the home. So that's why we got this one. And because I love doing fixer homes where, you know, you kind of make it to your own, you know. So always try to find the worst house in a great neighborhood and fix it and make it your own. But then the pandemic hit, which made it hard. You know, it's like, oh my goodness. But things slowed down, but we didn't stop doing construction. So then we moved in maybe about 5 months ago. So in fact, that's who we had called. That was one of the workers. We're doing a lot of the built-ins right now. So at the office is a built-in, or in the family room, you know, built-in surrounds type, those kind of things right now. So then we'll get to the yard, because the yard looks like a war zone. So and in fact, so they have this Olympic-sized pool back here. I don't know if you could tell, we're draining it because it had rained, and then it started filling up. But so we have a pump in there right now draining out the water because like dust gets in there. But one of the workers had fell in the pool. They built the pool so close to the house. There's like a 4-foot area, and he couldn't swim. And it just so happened that one of the tile cutters was out there because it's 12 feet, and he heard him, you know, flailing and pulled him out. And I said, I mean, it's crazy how everything timing. I said that could have really gone wrong. And you know, we hadn't moved in yet, but could you imagine, like, you know, so anyway, he's okay. But so we're gonna shrink the pool, like make it a little more narrow and bring it up, because you don't need it to be 12 feet. I don't know, was this person an Olympic swimmer? I don't know. So anyway, but you could see how crazy the yard looks.
Well, it's still a nice, wonderful house, you know. I love to visit sometimes. I kind of have fun. I love to visit sometimes, you know.
Yeah. It's nice. It's a beautiful area, and the weather is great. I know there's no snow. Even though I was born in Brooklyn, I've been out here since I was 4, so I'm pretty much, you know, an LA girl.
I hear you, definitely, you know, and it's so beautiful. I see the buildings right there, you know, beautiful.
Yeah. So we have a nice little city view.
Is that San Francisco there?
No, I'm in LA. I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh,
yeah, so that's it's downtown LA.
Wow, I see. Wow. So what's like to be famous? I mean, can you walk on the street? Anybody talking to you for autographs? I mean,
not me. You're talking about just in general, the celebrities that live around. Yeah, I mean, you know, you see them, and I more so when I see them, then it's people aren't bothering them. I think it depends on who it is, but a lot of times the celebrities, they create their like they'll let them know. I used to have a clothing store, and so a lot of times they'll say, oh, well, tell my publicist and I'll let them know I'm going to be shopping at your store, and then the paparazzi will come and wait for them, so that when they get them, you know, when they're coming out the store, like for the magazines and stuff like that. But generally when you see them, I mean, people aren't bothering them. I mean, I think because we live in LA and they are just around in the neighborhood, you know what I mean? Most people don't really bother you. Just kind of see them, you're like, oh, okay, there's so-and-so, you know? But I'm sure depending on where they went,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because how about you? Because I mean, can you walk down the street without being bothered? I mean, because
oh no, my acting days are long gone. People don't even know who I am. So
well, 'cause I do this. I do this. You like you start me, so
yeah.
Yeah. And would you ever consider maybe going back to acting? I mean, I think you'd be a wonderful actress. I mean.
No, thank you though. No, like I said, I used to just get so nervous, and I don't like being in front of the camera anymore. So no, I think my television days are although wait, I take it back. My mom and my sister and we were talking about doing like a little cooking something, but I guess it would be more casual, so I don't feel like it's like you're acting or learning lines. We like to cook and do projects and like stuff with the house, that we're always painting something, refinishing furniture. It was always projects. My mom loves to plant, and I love to garden too. And again, we cooked. My parents are from Belize, so we cook a lot of traditional foods. And we said this whole art is just being lost. Some of these meals. And so we said, well, maybe we should do something like on YouTube or something. To just document all this stuff. So okay, so yeah, I guess that would be. But I don't know. I feel like that's different. It's not like you're, rehearsing lines or anything like that. So, but I think I might get a little nervous still.
Oh well, you'll be nervous. But you're doing great right now. Talking to me, so you're doing great right now in this interview. So
Oh, thank you.
You're doing great.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, you're easy to talk to. So.
Oh, thank you. I try to be easy to talk to. So definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, and you came all dressed up. I said, "Oh, should I have worn something different?" It's like
I was trying to dress up for styles, when I'm interview styles, so they're presentable, So I'll just, yeah. So,
yeah.
So how did the pandemic affect you when everything was shut down? Did that affect you, the pandemic?
Really, with building the house, I would say, yeah, because we sold everything from our old house and just put in a few mementos into one of the pods. And then we rented a furnished apartment around the corner from here because I said, I don't want to pack up all the things. And then, I know it takes a long time to do a house, and thank goodness we didn't. We thought it was going to be 6 months, but with the pandemic, it took 1.5 years that we were in the apartment and then finally moved here. But it just slowed things down with getting supplies, and originally they had said instead of having a whole construction crew, it could only be, like no more than 3 people or so. So it slowed down for quite a bit. But yeah, we're finally in, and then things picked back up because they said people need to live. You can't really slow down the construction because it's part of living, But that was a scary time, even with when they were looting and everything. We were like 2 blocks away from one of the areas that they were looting, like in the high-end area of Melrose. And you hear the helicopters. I mean, you felt like they were right over your head, So it just, I don't know. It's still happening. It's like not like we're out of it, It's you just kind of want things to go back to normal, but I don't know that it is. I feel like this might just be a way of life with the mask, and it's like every minute is a new variant like the flu, where okay, this year it's this flu, So I don't know.
Well, I hope it ends soon, because I got fascinated, so I'm tired of wearing a mask when I go out, so I want this to end soon. I don't want to live like this either, I hope it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand how you feel, and everyone. It's crazy. Just doing this thing. It's horrible, I definitely understand.
It is.
Yeah. So what advice do you want to give actors that want to be an actress or musician? What advice can you give them?
Well, it's a tough business, but I heard people always say it takes about 10 years to really make a name for yourself. So you definitely. To stick with it and learn your craft and do your homework and don't give up, just always be out there. And I think what you're doing now is really commendable, and, but it takes effort and hard work. Like you said, you're just constantly working at it, but eventually something is going to click, you know, someone you talk to, someone you reach out to, or, hey, I remember this guy, Jay, he was looking for something here. Let me, you know, connecting people, and all about who you know, really is. It's tough. So
Yeah.
make sure that it's your passion, you know, not something, you know, oh, I'll try this, you know, because it's not as easy as some people think it is,
Yeah.
you know.
That is I'm starting to see that that's definitely true. You know, that's you got.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you got to go. You don't go to college to go to school first. You know, I didn't understand. Yeah. Did you go to college too?
I did not go to college. I started acting when I was young, and so I did know people in the business, and I became after acting, and I switched careers. Then I started working as an personal assistant to Yvette Lee Bowser, and at the time she created Living Single, and so I was a set PA. And then Warner Brothers had a Directors Guild training program. And so I told her I was interested in doing that. So I became the trainee for that. And that's how I was able to, after like 9 weeks, I worked consecutively on a show on Living Single as the DGA, Directors Guild trainee. And that's how I was able to get into the Guild, Directors Guild. So no, I didn't. I had actually I take it back. I went for about 3 months. I went to a community college before I worked for Yvette because I thought I wanted to be an architect.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized there's way too much math involved, and I'm terrible at math. So I said, yeah, this is not.
I understand.
So yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I can't do this career with all the adding, and you know, it's very, very tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's when I was actually working at the Cheesecake Factory for like 2 years. And then I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? So then that's when I started being a personal assistant and went on to Living Single as a set PA. And then, like I said, I was an assistant director for 23 years. So I just stopped a few years ago. And now I'm doing, yeah. Oh, and I had a vintage clothing store called Revival Vintage.
Mm-hmm.
For 8 years, actually, I had it, and decided to close that down when I had the kids. I had 2 kids, got married, had 2 kids. Yeah. They're now 7 and 9. Time just flies so fast. So yeah, and I'm taking care of them and then doing the house.
I see. Huh. Okay. Wow. So what was it like to work at the Cheesecake Factory? What was that like?
I was a hostess. So I worked at the front desk in the marina. It was fun. I made a lot of friends, some people that I still actually talk to.
Wow.
You know, and ate way too much cheesecake.
Oh, yeah. Mama loved cheesecake, you know, so yeah, not me. But
yeah. I grew up in Culver City. So, and that was kind of like the spot to go to. We used to love going there, you know, on the weekends or for brunch or whatever. So I'm like, let's get a job there until I figure it out. So.
I see.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what do you see yourself, you know, a year from now doing down the line? You know, what do you see yourself doing, you know, down the line?
Well, I thought I wanted to do houses for people. Like I said, I love decorating. And I realized after doing this house, this was the biggest fixer that I had done because like I said, we took it down to the studs and built it back up. But I like what's called, I like to call them lipstick and rouge fixers because, you know, you go and you see it has good bones, but maybe just needs, you know, some paint or some landscaping or, you know, a little bit of, you know, remodeling in the kitchen or bathroom, but not a complete gut renovation, you know. But then I said, I don't know that I want to be responsible for, you know, like with tiles and this and that. There's still so much math and stuff involved when you're doing, you know, even some of the smaller renovations. So I said, well, maybe I want to invest in property and do where I don't have to necessarily answer to anyone. It's just something that I invest in and I do the overhaul on it and then put it back on the market, you know, just to start off small. Or I might want to work for a firm with like decorating, you know, simple, just, doing a living room or, interior design, something like that. Interior decorating, because design means you're again dealing with the math. So I'm figuring it out, not exactly sure yet, or maybe it'll be a YouTube channel with the cooking, and this is what I'm doing now. We're always going to estate sales and thrift stores. I love hunting. I'll see something on the side of the road. Even if I see something cool, I saw a peacock chair on the side of the road during the pandemic, and I'm like, pull over. My husband's like, what? You're not getting this chair next to the trash. I'm like, you swipe it off. He's like, no. I'll buy you a new one, But secretly, there's stuff in this house the old house, because we got rid of everything, but that I found that I've completely like reupholstered, not myself, but take it to somewhere you buy the fabric, they take it down to where it's just the frame, and then you build it back up. But if it's like a really cool, vintage something, Art Deco something, someone's trash is someone else's treasure, right? But I love thrifting and vintage flea markets. We have the Rose Bowl flea market that I love. That's like the second Sunday of every month. It was just this past weekend, but because you never know what you're going to find, I love mixing styles with, vintage with new, or high and low, or something. I may splurge on something, but something else was super cheap, that I found at a thrift store for a couple dollars, like I'm not one of those where, this is from so-and-so, I have to have, most expensive something. I'm definitely not that person. I love mixing styles and whatever you find, you like it, you love it, then what it's about,
That's wonderful. That's a beautiful thing to do, I hope you start a YouTube channel. I love I'll be on this show and watch a YouTube channel, because just talking to you is like, wow, you can do so much, do so much,
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah. So my next question to you is, what do you think we can do to change? What do you think people can do to make the world better, in your opinion?
Oh my gosh, there's love.
Yeah.
Love and kindness.
Yeah.
People, there's so much hatred in the world, and I don't understand how someone can have it in their heart to be cruel to someone else, and it just, you send your kids off to school and all you want to do is protect them and hope that they're okay, but I do feel like if people were just more compassionate and kind and showed more love towards one another, that things would be a lot better than where they are now.
Yeah. I definitely agree. So how do you deal with racism? I mean, because that's such a hard thing. Because I know it's like to be, to be bully, picked on, because it's so sad, So I mean, what was it like for you to deal with racism growing up? I mean, as a celebrity,
maybe it's just where I grew up, but I really didn't deal with racism much growing up. I grew up in Culver City, and the school was predominantly white where I was raised. It was a complex, and most of the kids were Black, white, Hispanic, Indian. I mean, it was, and I don't know, it was just not, we didn't, thank goodness, it did not really have to deal with that much, if at all, really, not much. It just, they're thank goodness, It's more as an adult, surprisingly, it's like you grow up and you're in this little bubble, where we lived, I guess, being in the complex, you weren't on the streets per se. We all 13 of us, that we called ourselves the Tar Hillians, and we all walked to school together in the morning, and we all walked home, and we all played together. Yeah. In the summertime, we all swam in the pool, and somebody was always someone's birthday, so those were our little house party, summer party, or someone's mom would take us to the arcade, or, we'd be roller skating, runner, and that was our world, Yeah.
That's wonderful to hear. So what inspires you? What gives you inspiration and hope to do what
gives me inspiration and home?
No, I'm inspiration and hope to do what you do.
Oh, and hope. My family are Jehovah's Witnesses, so I have hope that I know that there will be a different future. I mean, I know that this is not it, that there will be something beyond this. I just hope that in the end you're judged by your heart, no matter what religion you are. And I hope that my heart is good enough that I make it to the new system, is what we believe. So,
well, I had no doubt you will. I can definitely tell you will, but hopefully you all make it, so.
Yeah.
If I talk to you right now, it's like, wow, it's like, you inspire me so much, and I know you'll go fight and make it. You can all make it,
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I try to do what's right and just be a good person. And I pray, would teach the kids to pray and love God and do what's right. Always try to make the best decisions you can and be honest.
Yeah.
Raising kids is harder than I thought. There's no manual that you're checking here, and thank goodness my husband and I have the same kind of values, and we're very old school, and just it's Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, and be polite and respectful. But like my son, he's a sneaky little one. I said, oh my goodness. It's so funny how kids can be cut from the same cloth and be so different. My daughter is she's like, just this sweet little thing. And then my son is, like, he'd be in the corner like, what can I get away with? What can like, look, little boy. But overall, they're good kids. They are good kids.
That's all. You're doing a great job as a mother, so I can tell you're doing a wonderful job.
Oh, thank you. We're trying.
So my question is, how did you feel when Gary Coleman passed? As long as they didn't play it out, how did you feel Coleman? How did you feel when they passed away? Did you go to the funeral services for them?
No, actually, I don't think I had even heard about it. I don't know. I don't remember what was done at the time, but I don't remember hearing like this was something that you could go to. But I know that a lot of people had eyes on the wife. Like it was not something that he just slipped and fell, in the bathtub. But it was being investigated, So just sad, just very sad for him. You always want the best for people. And I know he struggled for a long time with job wise, and he was working at a car dealership for a while. And, so it was great when he did get back into acting. Like when I told you I worked with him again on Wayans Brothers, he was doing a few things here and there that it was like, oh, thank goodness. But I'm sure he was still getting residual checks too, because even now, they'll pile like 4 or 5 episodes together, and then you'll get a check for, like $20 or something, So he was making good money back then. So I'm sure he was still getting, not like what he was used to spending, but I'm sure he still had something coming in, The well wasn't dry completely, probably.
Yeah, because I remember reading about his parents. It was sad. And then how Todd Bridges got arrested for drugs and didn't plan on being involved in the store. How did you feel about those situations? That was kind of sad.
Yeah, it was sad. I think he's found his way now. We've never spoken again since the show. I keep in touch with Shavar, who played Dudley.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we're still friends, and we were friends outside too. I think because we were all more the same age,
Yeah.
But he's doing well. So.
Yeah, I remember he was on. He was on Family Matters. Shabab.
Yeah, quite a few things. As I follow him on Instagram, and sometimes when he posts things, I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that, or I didn't know that he did that. He did a lot.
Yeah. I talked a few times on Facebook, so trying to get on my show. He says he's busy and stuff like but we talked for a few times. So.
Yeah, no, he is, because he's got his hands in a lot of different things. So I know he is very busy.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. So what do you like to do for fun and travel when you have free time?
I wish I could travel more, but like we're right now with the whole pandemic, we're not really doing much traveling. Plus we're doing the house, so I'm always, have to be here until this is done. But I used to go to visit my dad a lot because he moved down to Belize.
Okay.
He moved back down in the 80s, so he used to come here and we used to go there. Sometimes we'd stop off, and that's something we used to stop off in Cancun before it blew up, so it was still really, people were barely finding out about Cancun, and now even Belize, I feel like it has definitely gotten on the radar now, where it's too saturated. Too many people found out about it. It's not like this little hidden gem anymore. It's a little too touristy. I like places that are more authentic and not just going to a big hotel and staying. But you could do that here. Go to Santa Monica and stay somewhere with palm trees. If I want to be with the sand and the locals and eating what they eat, and that's how I like to vacation. So, but I would love to travel again after this. Hopefully this blows over a little more than it has now, where you're not really having to wear masks or, it's a little safer to travel. I'd love to go to like Turks and Caicos or back to Europe or the Amalfi Coast. We went to Italy, and we went to Paris for our honeymoon, and that was kind of like maybe about 10 years ago. That was our last big trip that we did, and I would just love to visit some of those areas again where we you explore, but you're not there long enough. And I'd love to go to see the pyramids in Egypt, but seeing the Colosseum, when we got off the airplane, we're on our way to the hotel, and you're driving by, and I go, wait a minute, is that the Colosseum? I mean, you're just driving by on a regular street, and it's just see some of these things that are, thousands and thousands of years old, and they're just right in the middle of the city. It's so strange. But I love seeing old things like that, so love to see the pyramids.
That's wonderful, because I went to Mexico on a cruise, and it was wonderful, and I've been to Walt Disney World, Florida. I love Disney World,
I haven't been yet. I love Disneyland, but I'd love to go to Disney World. Yeah, one day.
We should definitely go. We should all go as a family, I love to go with the kids. They'll
meet us up there.
I promise I can definitely meet you up there. Some problem, I promise we can make it happen. I also want to go to Disneyland too, California someday.
Yeah. Oh, so you haven't been here?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's the same thing. Like how you want to come to Disneyland, I want to go to Disney World because I heard it's way better than Disneyland.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got full parks, Universal Studios, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens. You love it here. I can meet you down there, and we can all just have a ball.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna hold you to that.
My word is good. We can make it happen. Okay, we'll make it happen.
Okay.
I also want to go on a Walt Disney World cruise. I love cruises. So.
Oh, dude, I'm always a little skeptical of cruises. I'm gonna pass on the cruise. They look beautiful when you see it, but I don't know that I want to be on a boat, because I said, what if something happens? Like I heard they have policemen on boats now, because before they didn't used to, but yeah, things you don't even think about, where if a crime happens, you can't just, leave or run away or, get help. You're stuck,
I know that's,
Yeah. And then I watched a whole documentary on cruise ships, because I was wondering things that you don't think about, but the trash, they have a whole, like a trash room, and you think about sometimes these cruises for, 2 weeks, and the trash, is still just on the boat.
Yeah.
And where does like when you go to the bathroom, is that getting dumped into the ocean, or is that going into a tank, and then it gets pumped out? I don't know. It's just all these, the dirtiness of a cruise that you don't really think about.
I know, that's true, I mean, I was on a cruise conference. I was like, wow, this is a big ship, and and those are my questions too. Like, wow, my questions are like exactly like, yeah, what you said, And then there's sometimes you have to worry about, pirates attacking the cruise, right? I saw, so makes you think, pirates, attacking the cruise ship,
Oh yeah.
I saw kind of film show. I was like, that can, yeah. So
yeah, because if you're below and you don't have a window in your room and the power goes out, you're in darkness.
Yeah, on the ocean, yeah.
Oh, hell no.
I hear you. I hear you. I definitely understand. I feel you. I was like saying like you. I was like, oh, okay, this is a big cruise. Should I go on? But I went with my cousin, so it was fun. But I was still kind of scared. I know how you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but it might be fun to do Disney cruise because that's a kids cruise, so shouldn't be too bad though.
You hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So do you think you might ever come to Boston someday, Massachusetts? I'd love to meet you. Come to
I
Boston.
actually was there before. I used to be on tour with Demi Lovato. For
Wow.
2 summers, I went on tour with her because I used to work on a show called Sunny with a Chance, and so I used to, run through her through makeup and hair and get her set. So I knew how to just kind of the days in days out. So I went with her as her personal assistant out on tour. We went to Europe, we went to South America, we went all of the United States, went to Canada. So I really actually got to see the world because of her.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the White House, had a personal tour on the White House. I mean, it was great. A lot of things that I wouldn't have experienced if I wasn't on tour with her. So it was, and when we went to Boston, I remember I stayed, we were at the Four Seasons Hotel, and right across the street there was this old cemetery, and I'm fascinated by really old cemeteries. So I went over across the street and walked through the cemetery, and it was, some of the graves were from like the 1600s, 16, 1700. It was crazy. The headstones, I mean, they're half, like starting to sink into the ground. But it's just fascinating to me. I love old things like that.
Yes, I wish I knew you back in when I've been on to meet you if you were here in Boston. I wish I could have met you.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, some places we were only there because we had when we were in Boston, we were in the tour bus, so we would fly, to a certain area, get the tour bus, and then kind of go back. So we were in New York, Virginia, all those areas, and then you go down into Florida, and but yeah, you'd be on the bus, you'd check into a hotel, then you would go get something to eat, do sound check.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'd do the show, and then you're back on the bus, and you drive through the night and then get to the next place, a few hours later or early in the morning, or but so you had your own little cubby,
Yeah.
your little on the bus. It was fun though. We would eat dinner on the bus, so you put your food order in, and then after the concert, then you would go back on the bus and your own TV. But it's like you're contained in these little, it's like a mobile house basically, but it was fun.
It seems fun, yeah. So you
Met a
said,
lot of people.
so you said that you went to the White House. What was that like? The White House?
Yeah, we went on a private tour, and I remember Demi didn't want to get up that morning, and so I was like, please, because it was her day off, or all of her days off, and so she had an invitation to go. Her and the family, her mom, dad, sister,
Wow.
me, the security guard, and she was tired. She was up late the night before, and I said, "This, I'm never gonna get this opportunity again. I don't ask you for much. Can you please pull it together for me?" So she's like, oh, "Okay," and so then she's like, "I'm glad I got up and glad I came." We were a little late because she had to still, every time she goes out, she would always look cute and do her hair and makeup, so she had to rally it up to get there. So we who shows up to the White House like 45, almost an hour late, and the tour I think was like 2.5 hours. So we got like an hour and a half tour, but it was beautiful, great. It was when Obama had first become in office. Everyone's like, "Do you get to see Obama?" And we're like, "No." He wasn't. We didn't get to see him. But it was when he was there in office. But it was cool seeing the Oval Office and seeing all the they have this one room called the China room or something like that, where they show all the different first ladies, like the China pattern that they had, they liked or that they brought in, and portraits and just things that were really, really old. And I remember there was this one theater, and I looked this one way and it was like a private screening room. It was really beautiful. And so I went in to snap some pictures and I heard people talking and turned around. It was the Secret Service was having a whole meeting right there. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, it's okay.
Well, what's the Secret Service say to you? What did they say to you? You can't take pictures?
No, we could, but it was just, I thought it was just this, I don't know why, when we were walking this way and I could see into this room and it was a screening room, a theater room. And so I just wanted to take some pictures. I said, oh, this is so pretty. It's like a private screening room. So I went into the doorway and I just took a picture and then I heard talking, I don't remember what they had said, but they weren't rude at all. But when I looked, it was just, a whole table of all the Secret Service people having a meeting there. Like, I just busted in this room and didn't even look the other way to see, I just assumed that it was empty because when I looked this way, you could tell it was a theater and it was empty. So, and every room we went into, no one was there, so I really didn't think anybody was going to be, but because they were all sitting around a conference table, it was quiet, and so I guess he saw me step in and I was taking pictures this way. So he stopped talking. And then when I turned this way, oh, hello, sorry. So they're like, it's okay. And so I just ran out of there.
I'm sorry you didn't get to be an Obama, because that would.
Oh, I know. So, but I didn't mean they do tours. I thought maybe it was a little more exclusive than it was, but it wasn't. It was, it was a VIP tour, but it wasn't like he's going to come out and meet people, regularly. I'm sure he picks and chooses,
Yeah, because
like the Oprah visitations, he's coming out.
Yeah. So what was his Oval Office like? It's like what you see on TV, the Oval Office.
Yeah, it's actually smaller than I thought. It just seemed like it was going to be this huge room, and it wasn't. It wasn't as big as I thought. But it was a trip seeing some of the places that you see on TV, and then you're like, oh, this is it. So.
Wow. Yeah, because I actually met President Obama one time when he was in Manchester campaign. I shook his hand at the Oval Line, so he was nice.
Oh, cool.
I didn't get a picture, I shook his hand. I was like, wow, and we said, how you doing? And that was it, so, but he was so caught about it. I said, it's get in there, how you doing, Mr. President? I'm honored to meet you. He said, how you doing, sir?
Aww.
And then I met Michelle. I met Michelle Obama. I sent a picture of me and Michelle Obama. I met her. She was nice.
Oh, really? Nice. Those good old days. The good old days. I wish we could go back.
Yeah,
right?
She was president again. So
Yeah.
So, would you do you think you might ever consider running for president someday? I mean, you make
no. No, not at all. That's not something I would ever have interest in doing. Yeah.
Because I think if you knew, I think you'd be a wonderful president.
Oh, thank you.
I talked to you, I was like, wow, you could be a president. You could make some wonderful changes. I could just tell So and
thank you. It's so kind of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and so she's such a people person. I love being able to talk to you and just meet you. I wish I could give you a hug, but
Oh, here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, but still hug, So and it's just, yeah, and like I said, I mean, just I don't know to have you on my show, and yeah, so
thank you for having me again. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was really nice talking to you.
I know, it was just a blessing. So before we go, how can we find you on social media? You want to talk on social media?
I am only on Instagram, and it's Nikki Vintage LA, and I think it's Nikki _ let me look, Vintage _ LA, I believe. I'm checking now.
Right.
Yeah, NIKKI _ Vintage _ LA. Because my store used to be Revival Vintage LA, so when I got rid of that, then I said, oh, I'll just put it as my first name.
Oh, that's wonderful. I will definitely send us an interview tomorrow, it'll make you so wonderful. People love you, and definitely please stay in touch, because it's an honor to meet you.
Okay.
And I promise you, if you go to Florida, I'll definitely come with you. Okay, I'll make it happen. Okay.
All right. All right.
Well,
and be sure to send me your Instagram. I think when you message me, I can find you that way, right? Okay.
Yeah, I promise. I'll send you everything. I promise you, man. Stay safe, okay? Stay safe. Stay good care of yourself. It's wonderful to meet you, and
I will. You too. Take care.
I'll see you soon next week.
Okay. Bye.